Greetings, brothers and sisters in Christ. This weekend we celebrate the 18th Sunday of Ordinary Time. We continue our journey through the Gospel of Luke. We are in Luke chapter 12. And today we hear the devastating words of Jesus who says, "Take care to guard against all greed, for though one may be rich, one's life does not consist of possessions." And then he goes on to tell us the parable of the rich fool, a man who has so much grain that he keeps tearing down his bins and building bigger ones. He keeps planning for tomorrow, and he keeps saying, "As for today, rest, eat, drink, and be merry." Jesus says that is foolish. He uses that word. We know that possessions are not sinful. A good question to ask ourselves is, do I own my possessions or do they own me? Do I allow my possessions to become the center of my life? Do I allow them to direct my life? Is my life directed to getting more possessions? Some would say that we spend our whole life buying possessions, storing possessions, moving possessions, and selling possessions. Well, as a Christian, as a Catholic, there's much more to life than that. Jesus, in his parables, spoke about possessions more than he spoke about prayer or salvation. So think about that. Jesus spoke about money and possessions more than he spoke about prayer and salvation. He knew that if we don't have our relationship with possessions correct and with our money, we're going to be off track. In fact, the only thing Jesus spoke more about than money or possessions is the reign of God. And we know that the reign of God captivated everything he did. So maybe this weekend we're simply called to look at how is my relationship with money and with possessions. And the answer in our Christian faith is to understand that God is the giver of every single gift. God is the owner of every single gift. We own nothing. We come into this world with nothing. We leave this world with nothing but Jesus Christ. He somehow becomes our center. So if there are possessions that get in the way of my life with Christ, get it out of your house. Get it out of your life. If there are possessions that you would not carry to the altar and place on it for Mass, get it out of your life. It is not worthy of your life. We ask God to help us direct everything. Briefly, I read a book years ago called The Holy Use of Money by Father John Hoey. And he talked about a thing called mammon disease. He says in a culture of affluence, you lose three things. And here in the United States, whether we are wealthy or poor, we're surrounded by a culture of things, a culture of affluence. The first thing we lose in this culture is time. We get more busy and more busy doing all of the wrong stuff. And I think people would say that. My whole life is just getting busier and more full. We lose time. The second thing is we lose relationships. We lose secure quality friendships. And the third thing we lose is wisdom. We have all this information at our hands, but not much wisdom. Brothers and sisters, the answer is Jesus Christ. He provides all that you need.